in the previous videos. So the basic question is, do generally tell me that whether you have gone through the videos, or else at least you know that how the classes will be created in the Python, how the attributes will be set, and how the methods are going to be defined, and how you can invoke those methods, and what are the different ways for invoking the methods. So I want to know whether have you gone through all these things. So either it may be through my videos, or else from any other source. The thing is that you should know all these things in order to understand the today's concept. So let me know whether you have gone through or not, whether you know how to create the classes, how to set the attributes, and how to set the values, and how to invoke the methods once they are defined in the classes. So have you gone through these basic things? I'm not asking you the any logic or the any program. I'm just discussing here that whether you are familiar with these syntaxes that are being used for the classes and the objects in the Python. You can comment and tell me whether you know or not. Okay, so you people are not going to communicate at all, right? So I'm just going to continue with the further concepts. So anywhere, if you have the doubt or if you do not understand anything, then let me know, right? So the previous three chapters is related about the classes and how to create a class, how to create the objects of the class, how to set the attributes, and how to define the methods within the class, and how to invoke those methods outside the class. So these all things has been already discussed in the previous videos, right? So along with the examples of the point, rectangles, and the circle, right? So assuming that you have understood and you have gone practiced the programs over there, so let's continue with the further concepts here. Right. So in this chapter, what I'm going to discuss is related to the inheritance. So I'm not going to discuss this chapter with the help of the PPT. Instead, I'll directly deal with the program itself. The program that has been taken from your syllabus, or the example that has been considered for this concept, that is inheritance, is regarding the class, the poker game. Right. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with the cards and the poker game. So for that, I just want the confirmation from your side. How many of you know about the cards and the poker game? How many of you know about that? So that in order to understand the example that has been given in this chapter, you should at least be aware about the basic things about the cards. So playing the cards, or the playing a poker game. So leave about a poker game or rules about the poker game. At least you should have the knowledge about the how the cards are constructed. That is, how many cards will be there, what are the different symbols will be there, and how many cards will be available for the each symbol. So all these things should be there, or else you should know about these things. Okay, so please let me know that whether you know about it or not. How many of you know it? I got only two responses. 28 of you have joined here, so I got only the two responses. So many of you are saying no, right? So you have not at all played the cards over here, isn't it? So for that, I'll just explain you the. Okay, so I'll just first explain you regarding the what are the cards, or how many cards will be available, and how the cards are structured. Right. So is the screen visible to you people?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So here is an image to tell you that how many different cards will be available. Right. So there are totally 52 cards will be present in any card games. So there are the four symbols. The cards will be categorized into the four symbols, like, so this first symbol what I'm pointing here is a club. The second symbol is the heart shape. This is said to be as a spade, and the last one is a diamond, right? So basically, this, as far it is concerned with the symbols, these the symbols, the word symbol is going to be termed as a suits in the scenario of the playing the card, so it is termed as a suit. For example, club is a one kind of suit, heart is a another kind of a suit, spade is a another kind of a suit, and the diamond is a another kind of a suit here, right? So like this, within the each suit there will be the 13 cards, right, ranging from the a to a being considered either as a 1, or else it will be even considered as the highest cadre card in that section over here. So in this a, starting with the a 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, and j is considered as 11th card, q is considered as a 12th card, and k is considered as a 13th card. So like this, in all the suits, that is in all the different kinds of these suits, you will be having the same set of the values here. So like for example, the club is having the range of the cards starting with the 1 to 13. So in the same way, even the heart shape cards, heart suit cards will be present ranging from the a to 13. So similarly, even in the spade also you have the cards ranging from the 1 to 13, and even in the diamond also you have the cards ranging from the 1 to 13. So altogether there are the 52 cards, and out of these 52 cards it has been categorized to the four different suits here. So you need to remember the names of the suits here, like the one suit is club, which is black in color, and the second is heart, red, spade, and the diamond. So each suit is of how many cards? 13 cards, right? So at least you got to know the structure of the cards here.
Yes, ma'am. It's
Do not
right.
worry about how these will be played and how what are the rules to be used for playing the poker game. So just understand the how many different cards are available here, and do imagine that all these cards are going to be played by shuffling them. So these are not going to be appeared as it is shown over here. So all these are going to be shuffled randomly. So in using those shuffled cards itself, we are going to play the different games from these cards here. Okay, so using this thing, in this inheritance chapter, we in taking this example, we have created the class, we have created the attributes, and we have set the values, and even the certain methods has been taken, just to make you clear about the inheritance concept, right? So let's directly deal with the example itself here, right? So how to define the class? So as many of you didn't answer me that whether you have gone through or whether you are familiar with the syntaxes of the classes and the objects. So whenever it is required, I'll just explain in a brief regarding the creation of the classes and the attributes here. Okay, so someone just accept the requests that are going to be done in the Google Meet, right? So when if I am busy in explaining the concepts, so others can just accept the requests that are going to be issued for joining the Google Meet here. Okay, so here you can see the class is created with the keyword class followed by the name of the class and followed by the colon. So this is the basic syntax that is required for creating a class. So once the classes has been created, so it is not necessarily that the class should contain the attributes or the methods mandatorily, right? So even in in Python, even you have the facility to create a class with the empty content. So even if you do not add anything to the class can be created. However, you can also have the attributes as well as the methods within the classes here. Right. So the class has been created with the name card here. So the first thing is we want to define the attributes with respect to these classes. So what will be the two different attributes here? So as I explained here, you need to define the class in terms of the two attributes. That is the symbols and the range of the values within the symbol here. So how many symbols are there? Four symbols. And how many values are there in the each symbol? 13, isn't it?
13.
Yeah, in this case you can see here we have taken the two attribute names here. So suit names is a list consisting the names of the symbols or the suits, and another list is the rank names, which is going to assign the range of the values within the each suit here. So right, so for example, suit names, see here we have defined with the four values here, that is clubs, diamonds, hearts, and the spades. So suit ranks is the value ranging from the a to the 13 along with the one none value here, right? So this these two lines are nothing but creating the attributes with respect to this class here. So how we are going to create the attributes? It is nothing but just like creating the variables and the values or the data structure that you want to define for that particular class here. In this class we have taken these two data structure to store the some related value to the cards, so named as the suit names and the rank names here, right? So the next thing what we want to do here is we just want to initialize the values to these attributes, and similarly we just want to display these whenever it is going to be whenever an object of this class is going to be created outside, right? So before discussing these two methods, I'll just want to show you how the object will be created outside the class, right? So this coming back to the same indentation with the outside the class, here we have created the two objects of this class here. So you can see here card1 is said to be an object of the class. How to create the object here is take any variable name followed to the equal to and followed to the name of the class. This should be the name of the class, and it is going to take the some values in it. So I'll let you know how you need to take the values over here. So if you have gone through the previous videos, probably you might understand it. So those who have not at all went to those things, so for that you should be aware that what how many values and what these values are going to do when you are going to create a object here, right? So whenever you create any object to the class, so this is the line which tells that you are going to create a object to the class. So once you create the object to the class, by default the init method, the method that you have taken, if you have defined this method within a class, this is going to be invoked default, that is automatically. So you need not have to invoke this method explicitly outside the class. So the init method is going to be implicitly invoked once you create the any object of the class. That means once this line is going to be executed from this program, so once this line is executed, automatically first it will call this function here, right? So now coming to the parameters, that how many parameters you need to pass, it totally depends upon the values or the parameters that you have taken for the init method. So always do remember that the values that you are going to take, at least it needs to match the exact number of the parameters from this init method, or else you can have the less than to these values, right? So one more thing is always the first attribute or parameter to the init method needs to be the self here. Right. So the second one is the values that you want to take, the attributes that you have defined for the class, suit and the rank. So you can see a suit is equal to 0, rank is equal to 2. So why these values are required here? So these are the default values that needs to be considered. For example, if you are not going to pass the any values over here, so these are going to be considered as the default values here. So in this case here, you can see here the two values has been passed like 2 and 11, right? That means the suit value is 2 and the rank value is 11. So avoiding these default values, these two values are going to be overridden, and that will be stored into the variable or the attribute self.suit and the self.rank here. So this is how the init method is going to behave, and this is how you are going to initialize the values to the attributes. So similarly, you might create the any number of the attributes or the any number of the objects, and you can set the any number of the values of these attributes here. So you can see here in the next case, we have taken the card 2 as a second object to this class, where we have passed the values as 312. So that means to this card 2 dot suit is 3 and card 2 dot rank is 12 here. So this is going to be assigned with the help of this method here, right? So now coming to this str, so how it has been used, so how the init method has to be used, it has to be mandatorily used with the two underscores before init and two underscores even after the init keyword here. So this needs to be taken in this exactly in the same way. And one more thing is you need not have to call or invoke this method explicitly after the class. That is going to be automatically invoked once you create the objects here, right? So the next thing is, once you have created the objects, once you have set the values to the attributes with respect to the each object, the next thing is probably you might be interested to display the values associated with the attributes, right? So how to do that? So for that, again you have the one more method which is going to be implicitly executed whenever you use the print statement with respect to the any objects that you have created outside the class here. So First I'll tell you how, when this method is executed, then I'll tell you how this method is going to be executed here, right? So you can see here, after card1 we have taken a print method, and after card2 again we have taken a print method. So simply, if you take print of card1, probably you are not going to get any result if you are not taken the str method inside the class here. So this print method is going to display the result only when you have define the str method inside the class. So in that case, how, when that means when this str method is going to be executed, this method is going to be executed o- implicitly whenever you take the print with respect to the object. I'm not saying that for always when you define the print, or when you execute the print statement, always the str method is going to be invoked. So the print method with respect to the object of that class, when you print with respect to any object of the class, at that time implicitly this str method is going to be executed here, right? So you can see here, that means print of card1 means when this statement is executed, automatically this function is invoked. So what is going to be passed here? The object that you have taken is, so in this case card1 is going to be passed here, so the self is going to be considered as a card1. Then here you are returning the values in the way what you want to display. So we want to display it in a string way, string format. That's why we have taken it here as a percentage s of percentage yes. So to this we want to fill the values. So here is a card1, so this card is nothing but again the object of the class. So this is going to be overridden with a card1 dot rank names of the card dot rank, and the card1 dot suit names of the card1 dot suit. So the rank associated with this 2 and 11 is going to be displayed here. So what is a 2 here is hearts, and what is the 11 here? Jack, right? So hearts of Jack is going to be displayed. So how these values is going to be considered? Normally with the index value that you have taken for the list. So that means the clubs is identified with the 0 index value. Similarly diamonds is identified with a 1 index value, hearts with 2, and this one with a 3. So similarly as same with the rank names as well. So in the same case, when we have created here the second object, that is card2 with the class card, and pass the 312, when we again print use the print statement with this object, this method is going to be invoked here. And sorry, this method is going to be invoked, the str method, where it is going to display the values associated with this 3 and 12 here, right? So here there is a one more method that you can see here, lt. So what does this means over here is the less than. So this method is going to be invoked when you use the less than operator with respect to the two objects. So outside the class, when you use the less than operator with the two objects, at that time implicitly, so again you need not have to call this method outside the class explicitly, you can just use the less than operator. At that time it is going to automatically invoke, and whatever the comparison that you have done in with respect to that, it is going to return the result either in the form of a true or false. So you can see here, if self dot suit, that in the sense for executing this method you have to use the less than operator on the two objects. So the first object is considered as a self and second object is a other. So in this example you can see here I have taken that x is equal to card1. The same two objects that I have created previously has been used here for the comparison. So card1 less than card2. So when this statement is executed, automatically inside the class it is going to invoke this lt method implicitly. So self and others are going to be replaced with the card1 and the card2. So here it will do the comparison, like if card one suit is less than the card two suit. So, the symbols that you have taken in this arrangement is, it is going to do the comparison here. And the same way here also it is going to do the comparison, just to tell that when it has to return the true and when it has to return the false. At the last you are going to just return the value self dot rank is less than the other dot rank over here, so that you can just display with the print statement here. So here you can see the print of x has been taken. So just tell me that when you execute this particular statement, does this method is going to be invoked or not? When you execute this last statement, that is print of x, So just tell me that whether this method is going to be invoked or not, because I told you that whenever you use the print method, implicitly this method is invoked here. So my question to you now is, when you execute this last print of x here, so does this str method, this method, whether this method is going to be invoked or not?
No, madam.
No. Others? Others? Only one answer. That means rest of you didn't understood it. At least tell me yes or no. The question is that whether that str method is invoked or not. If you feel that it is invoked, say it as yes. If no, say it as no.
Yes, ma'am.
It will be invoked. Okay. Only two answers. Or else you are just giving the answers in the chat box. Others didn't understood. Okay. So one of you said it as a yes and other said it as a no, right? So this, when you execute this statement, the str method will not be invoked. So as I told you that when the str method is going to be invoked only when you use the print statement on the objects of the class. So concentrate here that what you are trying to print here, you are trying to print a variable x. So is this x variable is the object of the class? Is this x variable a object of the class? At least you can tell this, right? Is this the class object of the is this the x variable object of the class? Though the card 1 and card 2, these two are the objects of the class, but x is not a object of the class. The total resultant of this statement is going to be stored into a simple variable. This is considered as a normal variable here, right? So whatever the result that is going to be displayed, so when you execute this statement, that is card 1 less than card 2, so since using the less than with the two objects at that time, this lt method is going to be invoked. So whatever the result that is going to be given back by this lt method, that will be stored into this variable here. So this variable is considered as a normal variable, and here in this statement you are using the print statement on a normal variable. So that means for that the str method is not going to be invoked. Instead it is just going to display the whatever value that is stored in the x variable here. Am I clear? Is everyone clear till here? Because this is the basic class that you need to understand in order to understand the further classes that are going to be defined here. So is everyone clear with the attributes, that how you are able to create the attributes and what kind of attributes has been created here? And are you able to create with are you all clear with these three methods here, str, init and the lt? Are you clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So coming to the next class here. See, this class is with respect to the, just to define that how many total number of the cards will be there, and how many different symbols of the cards are there, and what are the different ranges of the cards with the each symbol here. So we also require a certain class where you can define it for playing purpose, right? So because you cannot have the all 52 cards to be available with only one person while playing. So while playing you might distribute among these 52 with the different persons, for which you require the separate class here, right? So for that, as you can see here, class deck has been taken, so which is going to be defined only to consider the set of the or the sub parts of the cards apart from the 52 available cards, that is 52 cards, right? So even within this class we have the different methods that we have defined here, right? So I'll just explain you what are these different methods over here, and in the next class we'll see how the classes can be inherited with these two classes in order to play any game with respect to the cards here, right? So within this deck, so this is a class here, we don't want the any of the attributes separately defined for this. So already the attributes that has been defined with the class card, that is suit names and rank names, are going to be used throughout this program. But in this class we require the certain other methods in order to initialize the values here, right? So here you can see the init values. So if you take the same init value here, so probably that is not going to be working because we have not at all inherited. Do not get confused here. We have not yet inherited this class with the any of the classes. This is totally a separate class that we are defining after the class cards here. Okay, so you can see here again the init method has been used here, and within this init method you can see here we have taken a list here. This is said to be as a list variable along with the object of the class, that is self dot cards is equal to empty list here. So within this, what we are trying to do here is we are trying to consider the each one value, each card to be considered to the or the initialized to the sum or the other values here. So for that, what should be the first criteria? The first criteria here is the for loop to be considered for the range 4, and for the second for loop, that is the next level of the for loop, needs to be considered with the range of 1 to 14. So just tell me why the range 4 has been taken to the outer for loop and why the range 1 to 14 has been taken for the inner for loop. Why these two ranges are required here? I'm asking you question. So why the range 4 is taken here in the outer for loop and why the range 1 to 14 is taken in this inner for loop?
Four suits.
4. What does this represents? This represents that there are the four different symbols. That is
Four
the,
cards.
yeah, four different symbols, not four cards. It is a
Okay, ma'am.
four different symbols, four suits. That is the which are the four suits: clubs, spades, hearts, diamonds, right? So in order to define that thing, we have taken 4 here. And in the next for loop, the range is from 1 to 14. Why? Because 1 to 14, it is going to consider it from the
Cards.
1 to 13, isn't it? So I hope you remember the functionality of the range method. So it is going to start considering from 1 till the one value less to the second parameter here. That means 1 to 13. Why? Because each symbol have the 13 ranges, right? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So after traversing across the each card from the each symbol, what you are doing here? Here you are creating a object, that is the card object for the class card. So you can see here card object of the class card has been created. This is a object that has been created for this class, and to this we are passing the values suit and rank. That is this value suit and rank. That means for the each iteration it is going to travel. So this entire for loop, what does this indicates here? This entire for loop is going to point out to the each and every card in the entire set. That is all the 52 cards is going to be pointed, or all the 52 cards is going to be traversed with this for loop here. So what it is going to do, once this object is created, once you pass the value, for example in the first range, it is going to point to the 0, suit value 0, and the rank value 1 here. So 0 1, so card of 0 1, so it is going to pass here because you have created the class of that. So 0 1 in the sense 0 being the club and 1 being the ACS. So like this it is going to traverse across the all the possible ranges of the 52 cards here. So once that has been done, what you are interested to append all these card values into the list that you have created here. So this is the list where you want to access all the cards and you want to store into this list here. So how to add the contents to the list? By using the append method. You can see a self cards dot append of this card. So this you want to add to this cards here. Understood? Is there any doubt? So just tell me, when you execute this statement, when you execute this statement, which all methods are going to be executed from this? Is this method executed or not? Whether the init method is going to be executed or not once you execute this statement. Yes or no? It will be executed.
Yes, madam.
Why? Because You have created the object. As I told you that whenever you create the any object of this class, by default the init method is going to be executed, and with the help of this itself you will be able to access the values associated with the attributes, and you will be able to append those values into the list here. Is everyone clear till here? Is everyone clear with the init method that is defined for the deck class here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the purpose of the init method or the purpose of the str method is going to remain same for the any classes. So the any classes that you are going to use in the any number of the programs, the purpose of the using init and the str is going to remain same. So within this init method, you are just creating the objects of the another class through which again the init method of that class is also going to be invoked, right? So when you create the object of this class, again this init method is going to be invoked here. So we'll see again how it is going to be executed. So first, just understand that what all things has been taken in the each of these methods here. Okay. So similarly, again the str method has been used. So as usual, always the purpose of the str method is to make the display of the values of the attributes that you have initialized, right? So for this also we have taken a empty list here, and we are traversing across the this list because all the cards are have been stored into this list. Now the init method is not going to display anything on the screen. Instead it is just going to initialize the values and store them in some values here. So in this example we have taken the self dot cards as a list to store the values of the all the cards. So that means whenever you want to display, the obvious thing is that you need to get those values from this list variable itself, right? So for that you can see here the for loop has been applied on the that list only, right? So here again you have taken the another empty list, and by accessing the values from this list you are just appending those values to the new list, but in the form of a str method here, right? See, when you take the str method, this is a built-in str method. So if you take this built-in str method again along with the print statement, whenever you use the str method on the any of the object, again implicitly it is going to execute the this part, that is the str method with respect to the object of that particular class. So that's the reason why we'll be able to get the string values even though you have extracted the numerical values with respect to the index of those attributes over there, right? So this automatically the str method is going to consider or invoke the this method to be executed, with the help of which you'll be able to get the string values with respect to the all the possible cards from that set over there, right? So at the last you can see here while returning this display value, you have used the new line character. So new line character along with the join method, because once you take the list values, if you display them, you are going to display it in a concatenation way, that is all the values together into a single list. So suppose if you want to display them one by one into the new line, so you can just join the all the elements using the new line character, which makes them to display one below the other. Okay. So similarly along with the init and the str method, here you can see here the pop card method is used, add card method is used, shuffle is used, and the sort is used. So the pop is used for removing the card or deleting the card from the set, add is used to adding any the new cards into the set, and shuffling is used for randomly shuffling the cards, and sorting is to arrange them in some order over there, right? So the usage of all these rest of the four methods is going to be done with respect to the new class that we are going to create for playing purpose, right? So now for timing you just understand for what purpose these cards has been used here. So for pop card we have used the pop method, which is going to remove the last card value. Suppose if you have seen anyone playing the cards, you can see that when the deck of the card has been kept on the table, so how anyone is going to take a card through the hands, it is going to take the last card ranging from the top of the card, the from the deck. So that is card is going to be picked up and kept in the hand. So that's the reason we have used the pop method, which is going to remove the last card from that deck over there. So similarly when you want to insert the any card, that is going to be appended with to the list, and shuffling is done with the random method, and sorting is done with the sort method here. So how these methods are going to be used, we'll see when we use it in the another class over there. Right, so you can see here outside this class we have created the deck object of the deck class here. So once you create this object, implicitly this method is going to be invoked. Here you can see here you have not passed the any parameter, because there is a only one parameter which is a default one self. So here it is going to execute automatically by considering the all the possible cards from the 52 cards, right? So the next thing is you can see here the print of deck has been used here. So the print is a statement which is used again on the object here. That means when you execute this statement, the str method associated with this class needs to be invoked implicitly. So this part is going to be invoked, and that's the reason you'll be able to see the all the possible cards that are available in the 52 set of the cards, right? So with these two classes I'll just execute the program and let you know that how the things are going to appear on the screen here. Okay, so you can see here, before I show you the rest of the lines over here, so first let me show you that the display, the output for the first two lines is of the class card here, right? So what has been done, you can see here two objects has been created with the value 211 312, and in the print what we have done, we have taken the card one to be printed here. So that means, so print card one means, the as I told you, two is of the jack of the heart. So you can just compare the values over here. So what is the two and what is the hearts here? So what are the values that are being considered here? And here also 3 of 11 means queen of spade is displayed. So in the next case you can see here less than has been taken to compare between these two objects here. If it is a true, it is going to display it as a true. If it is a false, it is going to display as a false over here, right? So here you have this still some more lines to be displayed on the screen. So this is a result of the this part here. So when you try to print the object of the deck which is going to be displayed with the help of this str method, if you clearly analyze the or trace out this program, you'll get to know that this function is going to display the all the 52 cards over here. So that's the reason why it is saying that this squeezed text 52 lines. Why 52 lines? We have written the str method in such a way that it will be able to display the all the 52 combinations of the cards here. So if I click on that, you can see here starting with the club, the 13 possible combination of the club, 13 possible combination of the diamonds, and 13 possible combination of the hearts, and even the 13 possible combination of the spades, right? So this is what is done with this method here. So these are the two basic classes that you require to be defined in order to write the program for the any of the card games over there. And in the next class I'll discuss the another class by inheriting the features with these two classes, and how the inheritance is going to help you for the accessing the values, and how what you can do with the inheritance concept in the object oriented programming. Okay, so whatever we discussed till now, that is in today's class till now, is there any doubt? Is there any doubt?